Hi guys, it's Mishel, Deception Bytes, and it is September 2nd and it's 9:55 p.m. Eastern Time. We're picking up from where we left off in the last video. I'm going to hit on the last couple posts from August 31st, and then we're going to cover September 1st. Then I am going to do a separate video for September 2nd, and I'm going to hope that I get to that second video tonight to completely catch us up, because that would feel wonderful. Anyway, thank you so much. I just hopped on over to look at some of the comments on the other video before I started again, and thank you for letting me know that the place in Utah is a very real place. There is a real place. However, that does not change the fact that that website is not for that particular place. It's a parody website. So it's interesting though, and thank you, you guys that are in Utah or that happen to know about it, for letting me know that it is a real place. Also, thank you for your concern and your prayers. I really, really appreciate that more than you know. So let's get started here, and we're going to pick up right here. So we're going to go to this link that Q is providing us, and okay, it says, you mean FISA? Yeah, they're just a big ass rubber stamp, dude.
You mean FISA? Yeah, there's a big ass rubber stamp, dude. You mean FISA? Yeah, there's a big ass rubber stamp, dude. You mean FISA? Yeah, there's.
So, oops, that's a book I'm reading. And let me see. Let's see what else we have here. I assume you guys have all watched the Snowden movie. Probably most of you have. It was an interesting movie. I just, yeah, not so sure about all the details. Anyway, United States Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, February 15th, 2018. Honorable Rosemary M. Collier, presiding judge, and Honorable Devin Nunes, chairman, Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, United States House of Representatives, Washington, D.C. Dear Chairman Nunes, I write in response to your letter of February 7, in which you request that the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court confirm whether transcripts of relevant FISA court hearings associated with matters described in the letter exist, and if so, provide copies to the committee. As you know, any such transcripts would be classified. It may also be helpful for me to observe that, in a typical process of considering an application, we make no systematic record of questions we ask or responses the government gives. The court appreciates the interest in the House Intelligence Committee in its operations and public confidence therein. Before 2018, the court had never received a request from the Congress for documents related to any specific FISA application. Thus, your requests and others I have recently received from Congress present novel and significant questions. The considerations involve not only prerogatives of the legislative branch, but also interests of the executive branch, including its responsibility for national security and its need to maintain the integrity of any ongoing law enforcement investigations. While this analysis is underway, you may note that the Department of Justice possesses or can easily obtain the same responsive information the court might possess, and because of separation of powers considerations is better positioned than the court to respond quickly. We have previously made clear to the department, both formally and informally, that we do not object to any decision by the executive branch to convey to Congress any such information. We have asked the executive branch to keep us informed regarding any information concerning the FISA court that it provides to Congress. If you choose to present your request to the executive branch, we likewise request that you kindly let us know. And this is copied to Adam Schiff, Jeff Sessions, and Christopher Wray. So, yeah. Now, let's go back and see what else Q is wanting us to take a look at. One more here. Oops. Nunes grappled over inviting Chief Justice John Roberts to testify. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes left has said the panel is mulling over the idea of inviting Chief Justice John Roberts to testify before Congress. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes, California, said Wednesday the panel has mulled over the idea of inviting Chief Justice John Roberts to testify before Congress as part of his committee's investigation into the FISA courts. In an interview with radio host Hugh Hewitt, Nunes was asked if he spoke with Roberts over his findings of intelligence abuse by the Justice Department and FBI during the 2016 Trump campaign, The Hill reported. "This is something that we grappled with," said Nunes, speaking of his fellow committee member. As Chief Justice, Roberts appointed FISA court judges. "We decided that we wanted to complete the FISA abuse portion before we approached the courts. Our next step with the courts is to make them aware, if they're not aware already, that this happened by watching the news. So we will be sending a letter to the court." Nunes added that the committee struggles with its next step because of the separation of powers issue. There's a debate now into whether just send it to the Supreme Court or send it to the FISA court, he said, referring to the letter. If somehow this case ends up at the Supreme Court, somehow, some way, by sending a letter to Roberts, do you conflict the court? Just last week, the House Intelligence Committee released a 4-page memo written by Nunes alleging intelligence abuse by the DOJ and FBI during the 2016 Trump campaign, citing a high-ranking government official who said both agencies never would have sought surveillance warrants in the absence of a disputed anti-Trump dossier funded by Democrats. When speaking about the likelihood that Roberts would talk to the committee, Nunes said that he was not aware of any time where a judge has, for lack of better terms, testified before the Congress. Well, and there you go. This is also convoluted and just very complex. And you know something, I wonder if, nope. Okay, sorry. Just wanted to make sure that one wasn't part of the other there. And let's go on. This is interesting. Okay, Q is saying special approval P7291730093991 _Z. And then in the kill box there it says set up example 1. Now, when he's talking about special approval, I think he is referring to, well, let's just get there. Hang on. And I'll come back to this. Let's go here first. Homeland Security confirmed special entry for Russian lawyer. The Homeland Security Department confirmed Friday that Russian lawyer Natalia,
as far as my son is concerned,
Natalia Veselnitskaya, I'm not sure. I know I'm butchering her last name, and I apologize. Was granted special entry to the United States on multiple occasions in 2015 and 2016 at the request of the Justice Department. And who do you think that would have been? Loretta Lynch. It also said that Natalia, whose last name I can't pronounce, eventually won a non-immigrant work visa around the time she met President Trump's eldest son in New York last summer. Homeland told The Hill that the woman whose name I can't pronounce was allowed to enter the United States on multiple occasions between September 2015 and February 2016 under a, quote, significant public benefit parole document requested by the Justice Department so she could participate in a court case for a client. The request was done in concurrence with the U.S. Attorney's Office in New York City, which was enforcing a civil asset forfeiture case against Prevazon Holdings, a company owned by Russian businessman Denis Katskiv, whom the woman whose name I can't pronounce represented as a private attorney in their home country. Okay, I'm going to go back because Q does a much better job of explaining it than do they. All right. So, Loretta Lynch, this special approval was given by her to give Natalia, special entry into the U.S. Okay, so Loretta Lynch got Natalia, who admits being an agent of the Kremlin, special entry into the U.S. so they could use her to set up Manafort and accuse him of working with the Russians. And why would that be? Because if they're able to get a warrant on Manafort, then they're also able to, by extension, spy on Trump. Now, excuse me. So Loretta Lynch gets the special approval, does the paper trail for special entry to Natalia, and that gets her to Manafort because, of course, they're wanting to set up Manafort. The FISA warrant is issued and approved for Manafort. This allowed them to get a FISA warrant as they could claim Manafort, a member of the Trump team, was colluding with the Russians. Okay? And therefore, they were able to get a warrant for surveillance. They could tap his phones, they could bug it, whatever. They could do whatever they wanted to spy on him. And then Mueller, of course, then investigated Manafort. Then Mueller investigated Manafort. The FISA warrant was issued to investigate Manafort, but it also gave them permission by extension to investigate investigate by keeping them under surveillance Papadopoulos and Manafort. So the FISA warrant was issued and approved for Papadopoulos, and Mueller then began investigating Papadopoulos, and then a FISA warrant was issued and approved for Page, and then Mueller started investigating Page, and then FISA warrant was issued and approved for Flynn, and then Mueller started investigating Flynn. You must target, remove, and silence all those illegally targeted for FISA surveillance plus UK assist. And the UK assisted them in this. They were illegally targeted for surveillance, obviously, and the UK assisted. So I think what he's saying, you must target, remove, and silence. I guess they wanted them targeted, removed, and silenced, or is Q saying he wants those responsible targeted, removed, and silenced? Because it's a little bit ambiguous the way he has stated it here. You must target, remove, and silence all those illegally targeted. Well, the ones that were illegally targeted were Manafort, Papadopoulos, Flynn. Am I missing any? I feel like I am. Papadopoulos, Flynn, Manafort, and Page. So, and those were the ones that were targeted. So I guess he's talking as if, he's the enemy. Like, yeah, we got to target, remove, and silence these guys, which is what they did. The UK assist plus FISA surveillance included all upstream collection plus tangent contacts, umbrella surveillance. Now, we have gone over this before, that, if let's say I'm under surveillance, but I'm dealing with, this guy over here, well, then this guy by extension can be under surveillance because he's connected to me and blah, blah, blah. It goes upstream. And this is like, an umbrella surveillance because it doesn't just cover the person that you're targeting, but everybody around them and in their little sphere of influence. So foreign target designators create leapfrog hops to isolated real targets, non-foreign communications. Section 702, now let me see, foreign target designate. Okay, I kind of understand what he's saying here, but he's saying that in order to, because they can't, they can't target a U.S. citizen. So they're leapfrogging to it by using Five Eyes, because we all collect Five Eyes, Canada, U.S., Britain, Australia, and what's the other one? Is it New Zealand? I can't remember. But they all collect, I think so. I think they all collect data on one another. And although, if you're in the U.S., you can't spy on another U.S. citizen, but you can spy on a foreign citizen. But if you go to, say, Britain, then you can get that information about the U.S. person. So Britain was helping them in this spying, in this surveillance. And we know that. All right, Section 702. Now, let's go here. NSA stops certain 702 upstream activities. Since 2008, the National Security Agency and other members of the U.S. Intelligence Committee have relied on Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act to conduct surveillance on special foreign targets outside the United States to acquire critical intelligence on issues ranging from international terrorism to cybersecurity. After a comprehensive review of mission needs, current technological constraints, United States person privacy interests, and certain difficulties in implementation, NSA has decided to stop some of its activities conducted under Section 702. While Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court was considering the government's annual application to renew the Section 702 certifications, NSA reported several earlier inadvertent compliance incidents related to queries involving U.S. person information in 702 upstream internet collection. Although the incidents were not willful, NSA was required to and did report them to both Congress and the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court. The court issued 2 extensions of the government's renewal application in order to receive additional information from the government about the issue and the government's plan to resolve it. The previous year's certifications remained in effect during these extension periods. During the extension period, NSA undertook a broad review of its Section 702 program. Under Section 702, NSA collects internet communications in 2 ways: downstream, previously referred to as PRISM, and upstream. Under downstream collection, NSA acquires communications to or from a Section 702 selector, such as an email address. Under upstream collection, NSA acquires communications to or about a Section 702 selector. An example of an about email communication is one that includes the targeted email address in the text or body of the email, even though the email is between 2 persons who are not themselves targets. The Independent Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board described these collection methods in an exhaustive report published in 2014. After considerable evaluation of the program and available technology, NSA has decided that its Section 702 foreign intelligence surveillance activities will no longer include any upstream internet communications that are solely about a foreign intelligence target. Instead, this surveillance will now be limited to only those communications that are directly to or from a foreign intelligence target. These changes are designed to retain the upstream collection that provides the greatest value to national security while reducing the likelihood that NSA will acquire communications of U.S. persons or others who are not in direct contact with one of the agency's foreign intelligence targets. In addition, as part of this curtailment, NSA will delete the vast majority of previously acquired upstream internet communications as soon as practical. NSA previously reported that because of the limits of its current technology, it is unable to completely eliminate about communications from its upstream 702 collection without also excluding some of the relevant communications directly to or from its foreign intelligence targets. That limitation remains even today. Nonetheless, NSA has determined that in light of the factors noted, this change is a responsible and careful approach at this time. After reviewing amended Section 702 certification and NSA procedures that implement these changes, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court recently issued an opinion and order approving the renewal certifications and use of procedures which authorize this narrowed form of Section 702 upstream Internet collection. A declassification review of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court's opinion and order and the related targeting and minimization procedures is underway. The National Security Agency works tirelessly around the world to help keep the nation safe. We have a solemn responsibility and commitment to do this work exactly right. When incidents occur, we immediately report them to oversight bodies and develop appropriate solutions. We never stop putting improvements in place while carrying out our critical mission. And that was posted April 28, 2017, last modified June 28th, 2018. So it was modified very, very recently. Now let's go back, and Q is giving us an example. P talks to X. X talks to Y. Y talks to Z. P, X, Y, Z equals bulk data collection, and that's the umbrella, right? Which we just talked about. If one person's under surveillance, then whoever they're talking to and dealing with, their sphere of influence is also under surveillance, under the umbrella. UK Assist allows for normal FISA law deconstruction. Deconstruct includes D2 spy insert. Deconstruct includes non-FISA warrant special ops. Warrant special ops classified public. So I'm really not 100% sure right here what this means. UK Assist allows for normal FISA law. So UK Assist allows for, an exception under the FISA law. That's how I read that. And it includes a D2 spy insert. So what a D2 spy insert is, I don't know, but it's probably a higher level of surveillance. And it includes a non-FISA warrant, special ops warrant, special ops classified public. I don't know. Q. Now, this I got from this is I got from the Great Awakening board, but I erased it because it's not as detailed. There's not as much detail in there as I just gave you, so there's no sense. So let's go on. Yay! Alrighty. And Q says here, they want the keys to the kingdom. Well, let's take a look. Postal Service admits ex-CIA officer's personnel file released in human error. Well, that's troubling. The U.S. Postal Service on Thursday acknowledged that it inappropriately released sensitive personal information about Democrat Abigail Spanberger, a former CIA officer, challenging Republican Dave Bratt, calling it a human error that it will address by changing procedures for public information requests. The Postal Service deeply regrets our mistake in inappropriately releasing Ms. Spanberger's official personnel file to a third party, which occurred because of human error, said a statement released by spokesperson David Partenheimer. In the statement, the Postal Service suggested the confidential information involving other people may also have been mistakenly released. We are continuing our review. So I don't know how that happened. Let's go back, see what else Q has to say. I don't want to read every single one of these. We just want to understand what Q is telling us here. The Daily 202, ex-CIA officers running for Congress as Democrats. The big idea, the spooks have come in from the cold and they're running for Congress. Alarmed by President Trump and galvanized by Russian interference in the 2016 election. Oh my gosh, if I hear this one more time, I'm going to slap somebody. There's nobody here and I refuse to slap my cats. So could somebody come by so I could slap them? Anyway, alarmed by President Trump and galvanized by Russian interference in the 2016 election, Democratic alumni of the Central Intelligence Agency are challenging Republican incumbents from Virginia to Michigan and New York. So that is the gist here, is that the CIA officers are, former CIA officers are running for Congress because they are against Trump and they certainly don't want, the midterms to be red. So, hang on. Let's take a boo at this. These former intel professionals are running for office to check Trump. Yeah, it could be that Trump is shutting down all these, the clown, operations, and that could have something to do with why they're ticked off and they want to check.
Here's a look at
Trump.
the latest state of play for the battle for the House. Now, let's start with the big, most important number. That's 23. That's the number of seats Democrats need to pick up if they want to win the majority in the fall. Now, you look at this, you see a lot of blue, right? And you see a lot of red. These are seats that, candidly, you don't really need to worry about because Democrats are winning these seats, Republicans are winning these seats. What matters is this group in here. And this group, as you can see, just a quick look, there's a whole lot of red, all in there, and not very much blue at all. What you've got there is you have 73 Republican-held seats that are potentially competitive, and just 33 Democratic seats. That now includes Wisconsin 1. That's Paul Ryan's seat, the Speaker of the House, not running for re-election. It's a district Mitt Romney won by 5 points, Donald Trump won by 10 points, and it's a district that Democrats are going to at least take a look at. CNN has moved that race and 6 others into the more competitive category, meaning that you have...
So, basically... Yeah, we already know this. We already know that, as far as it looks like the Republicans have it, but, there's still these seats. And, of course, the Democrats are a little bit like, so that's why these former intel agents are, CIA agents are running for office. And Q says active. They want the keys to the kingdom. Now, what does he mean by that? Well, if the Democrats can get, back in, they want their power back. Basically, they want it back. They're very alarmed at what they see happening. And they should be. So Q puts under here active. Now, I don't know if he means some of these are active CIA. That's how I read this, that there are people that are active CIA that are running for Congress. And I don't know how that is even possible because I would think that's a conflict of interest, but I don't know how you can hold 2 jobs in the government. But anyway, there you go. And of course, he signs off Q. Now, let's go up to the next, and Q put this, and I don't know why, but this makes me laugh. It's this picture, and of course, it's the Trump the Obama administration, but there you've got Sessions, and he's just peeking over, the shoulder here, but look at the expression on his face. I love it. He always has this good-natured expression on his face, and above his head it says, soon. I love this. I laughed when I saw this, and I hope that you got a chuckle out of it as well. So let's go up to the next one. And this shows a, actually, it's a email that these emails have been newly released, apparently, from Hillary. And this anon says, anyone see this yet? Phone fagging? Didn't see any notables with this? New Hillary Rodham Clinton emails. They call her Alice. Email from HATTER, Alice in Wonderland. Now, we're going to look at this in more detail in a minute here, but down below, Q has said, Anonymous, this is from Anonymous as well, says, simplified, Alice in Wonderland, Hillary and Saudi Arabia. References, Hillary Clinton in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, Saudi Arabia, The Bloody Wonderland, Q. And then Q responds and says, but how could we know? And then freedom of information state, let's go take a look at this, see what Q wants us to look at here. And here are all of the, and boy, am I going to have fun at some point, because these are all the documents. Virtual reading room documents, search results, and it's under the Freedom of Information Act, so all sorts of things. Like a little smorgasbord, like a buffet without a sneeze guard. Yeah, that's what it is. All right, now, and Q says here, now, I'm going to skip this. I was going to take us out to the Great Awakening board. Well, you know what? I am going to, because there's some interesting things out there about this all. Right, Picasso? She's reading along. She looks like she is. All right. Can you read that? Picasso? Can you hear? Picasso, say hi. Come here. Can you say hi? Hey? No? She usually does speak when I talk to her. She usually talks back, but all right, I'll get back on subject here. Now, there's a lot here, but it's very hard to read. It's very hard to read. Now, let me go back here. Let me get out of here. Go here. Okay. The letter is from a Marty Tory, and he's chief of staff for former U.S. Representative John Sweeney. Clinton met Marty Tory in Washington when he was working for Sweeney. They have remained friends ever since, and it's interesting, this email. Okay. There's so much here. Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to go back because there's so much here, and so much to cover and so little time. All right. So this email, let me see if I can find where I'm going up here. Okay, here's the email. It says, forward, Israeli elections and a little TL, and it's from Marty Tory, and it's to Hillary Clinton. Forward, Israeli elections, Wednesday 11th, February 2009, and it says, Madam Alice. That's interesting. I mean, I know Q called her Alice, but I wasn't aware that other people referred to her as Alice. Not surprising that media going crazy with those elections and pointing to uncertainties instead of opportunities. Back to the basic of common sense, goal is peace. Whichever competing, aspiring leader over there forgets that will lose the support of the people, especially with a 2-year election cycle. Both sides are tired of dying. You picked a heck of a time to be Secretary of State. I still think a higher office awaits you. All the best in what you're doing all over the planet. HATTER. So this person is referring to Hillary Clinton as Alice, and he is signing his name, this Marty Tory, as HATTER. Well, isn't that interesting, considering that Q this whole time has been referring to Alice in Wonderland and Bloody Wonderland, and I mean, it's just interesting. Now, here is another one. No, that's the same one in the picture. Okay, I'm looking for, there's another one. That's what I'm looking for. Now, this anon said, okay, we've already seen this one, and then we've seen this, and this is the letter. I thought for sure there was another one. That is the letter that we just looked at. And, all right, I don't know, I must have been sniffing glue. All right, let's go on. I thought for sure that there was another one. I know we're going to come back to this anyway. So, all right, now let's look at the next post. And this is still August 31st. The ABC/Washington Post poll was by far the least accurate one 2 weeks out from the 2016 election. I call it a suppression poll, but by election day, they brought us out of shame to about even. They will never learn. So he's not talking about the newest poll, but he is, of course, talking about the newest poll by comparing it to the poll before the election, where, you know, of course, they said that Hillary had a 98% chance of winning, which, of course, is laughable, because I think maybe only 3 people voted for her. I'm not even sure if 3 people voted for her. Of course, I'm kidding, but anyway, that's what Trump is saying here. And let's go back. And Q says, do you believe in coincidences? Enjoy the show, Q. And he's saying it's a coincidence because they're doing the exact same thing that they did before the election. And it's just that now they're doing it before midterms for the exact same reason. So they're predictable. They're very predictable. They're not very creative. They're not very creative, and they're very predictable. All right. Now, the next one, Q, refers to a post of his from August the 15th, where he said, Saudi Arabia, access closed. Epstein Island, access closed. Haiti, and what's he talking about? Access to what? Well, we know it's human trafficking. Haiti, access closed. North Korea, access closed. China, access closed. He could also, not just human trafficking, but it could also be closed to the clown ops as well. Russia, access closed. Cuba, access closed. Sudan, access pending government. Saudi Arabia, U.S. push. Syria, access pending government. Yemen, access pending government. Saudi Arabia, U.S. push. Libya, access, pending, main port closed, limited. Somalia, access, pending, Saudi Arabia, U.S. push, Q. And then below it, Q says HRC equals Alice. Saudi Arabia equals Wonderland. Who are the white rabbits? Reread drops regarding Saudi Arabia. Have faith for God and country. Q. Well, we're about to see some okay, the next we're going to see some rabbits. All right, now here Q is referring to his post from well, the same one that he just referred to from 8:15, and of course below it is this, and Q is acknowledging this and saying, he's given us a couple links to illustrate his point. Opinion, child marriage still an issue in Saudi Arabia. So, of course, that's a huge concern because we know that they marry their children, and I gotta close some of this down because it's, I don't know, I might have to buy my, I don't know, because it's acting up here. All right, let's go back. And what does this say? Saudi migrant workers subject to abuse. Even after Taliban, violence against women remain. Now this is May 13th, 2008. And if we go back here, well, let's go right here as well. Saudi Arabia, Office to Monitor and Combat Trafficking in Persons. Saudi Arabia Tier 2 watch list. It's a destination country for men and women subjected to forced labor and to a lesser extent forced prostitution. Men and women primarily from South and East Asia, the Middle East, and Africa voluntarily migrate to Saudi Arabia as domestic workers or low-skilled laborers. Many of these workers subsequently face involuntary servitude. Non-payment of wages is the most common complaint from foreign workers in the kingdom, while employers' withholding of workers' passports remained widespread. The foreign worker population is the most vulnerable to trafficking in Saudi Arabia, particularly female domestic workers due to their isolation inside private residences. Now, if we go back to what Q said, he's showing us that Saudi Arabia was a priority. They had to shut that down for those reasons. So Saudi Arabia was a priority. And then he says, we wish this was a dream, Q. Unfortunately, it's not, because that is life for many and was life for many. Thankfully, a lot of that has been shut down, and I don't think it could have happened soon enough. I can't imagine that kind of captivity. I can't imagine it. I don't want to. Now, here's our bunnies. Really, really sick bunnies. Okay. Now, first, because this is the last post, but it's a humdinger. It's the last post of August 31st. All right, now, Q posted this by anonymous, but it's going to be very, very hard to read now. So let me see if I can get it big enough that we can see this, or at least enough so I can see it. So November 2nd, you can paint the picture based solely on the questions. Okay, here, this is November 2nd, 2017. And it says, first Alice in Wonderland, A and W signature. And remember how Q used to sign at the bottom, he wouldn't sign, he'd just put Alice in Wonderland. And then it says 4 crumbs with the Alice in Wonderland signature later. This one, November 2nd, first mention of Saudi Arabia in relation to Alice in Wonderland was this one, November 2nd. And then next crumb with the Alice in Wonderland signature was this one, November 2nd, 2017. And this was the first mention of Hillary Rodham Clinton in relationship to Alice in Wonderland. So, I mean, this is, for those of you that haven't been following and are fairly new to this, this is important for you because you can see where all this is coming from. This has been from way back that it's been established that Hillary Rodham Clinton is Alice and Saudi Arabia is Wonderland. 8 crumbs here with the Alice in Wonderland signature later, and that's November 4th. This one's November 4th. And here, remember this very clearly actually, Alice in Wonderland, Alice Lewis Carroll equals the Bloody Wonderland. First hint of meaning of Alice in Wonderland. And here, 1, Q equals Alice. Q equals Alice. Q went down the rabbit hole, learned what the enemies of We the People were and are planning, and is divulging what was found. Alice and Wonderland. Q is distinguishing the signature Alice and Wonderland from Q equals Alice as having different meanings. A and W is different from Q equals Alice. And let's come down here. Next crumb with the A and W signature was November 4th, clarification of the hint of the meaning of Alice in Wonderland. Let's start with Alice in Wonderland. Hillary Clinton in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. Saudi Arabia, the Bloody Wonderland. Next crumb with the A and W signature, excluding reposts, simplified Alice in Wonderland, Hillary and Saudi Arabia. Q states the meaning of Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland equals Hillary Rodham Clinton and Saudi Arabia. And here, Q used the signature of Alice in Wonderland to signal the events of President Trump going to Saudi Arabia to reset the alliance and relationship with Saudi Arabia formed under Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and the high levels of corruption associated with it. Reread the crumbs. So he told us to reread the crumbs, and that's what we have done. So let's come down. And it says reread the crumbs or the graphic. That's what we've done. And then Q provides us with a couple pictures for our viewing pleasure. Not very pleasurable, but there's some interesting things that I noticed about this, and I'm going to enlarge it and I'm going to point them out. I noticed things with art, certainly because, you know, I do have an art degree, but so I really do pay attention to stuff like this because somebody went to a lot of bother to set this up. And it's interesting because all of the bunnies have the same face. This bunny is holding a rope. These are 2 teddy bears, and I believe that they represent children. They are back to back, and they are both blindfolded. There is a rope around both of their necks, and it looks like this guy is giving him a boost so he can hang them. Now, this guy over here is coming over with a baseball bat. Now, what do you think he's going to do with that baseball bat? I think it's pretty evident that he is being brought over here to beat them. They're going to be beaten and hung. Now, there's there's a lot of, I don't know, like these guys all look the same, meaning they really are the same. They're all probably MK Ultra'd. I don't know. Like they could be in pairs because they're, you know, it's the perpetrator and the handler. I don't know, but it's really sick. And why they're in bunny suits, follow the white rabbit, I don't know. I mean, it's weird. And even as an art major and I've got a master's in English, I'm used to taking things apart minutely and you know, analyzing them, literature, and I'm thinking, I don't know. But what gets me is this is a very normal environment. Look, these windows are open. There's 4 windows. This looks like an apartment complex over here. These look like wealthy houses. This is a wealthy neighborhood. They could be in a school or an institution type setting because it doesn't look like a home. I've never seen a home, you know, with 4 windows like that. It looks more like a school or an institution type setting, and they are in a regular neighborhood. Over here, that's definitely an apartment building, and these are definitely houses. So it's just, it's an interesting setup. And then there's something here in the floor, either, I don't know what that is. It's not a drain, so probably electrical. And let's go down to this one, because this one I find fascinating. And I'll tell you why. This one bothers me even more, although they both bother me a lot because I know that they're about abusing children. Hang on here, I'm going to make this bigger so that you guys can see it. And here we are. Now, okay, so they've cut out this child's face. All right, and it's meant to be a mask, meant to be worn as a mask. Now, is this for them so they can deceive this child, or is it for, I don't know. But this man, bunny, whatever, is undressing the child, and I really do believe that this is representative of a child, is undressing them, and this one is torturing them. Now, why would I say that they're torturing them? Well, he's got scissors and he's about to cut off the ear. I think, you know, if that was a child, that would be quite painful. Just saying. So this, and nonchalantly, they both have no expression. It's just like every day, like this is what we do. They're, you know, and very nondescript in a bunny suit, and this is what they're doing. So it's interesting. So who are the white rabbits? That's what Q asked us. I don't know, but they're certainly the abusers. And Q says, past drops important to frame context. These people need to all be eliminated. Those who know cannot sleep. Q. Yeah. Creepy, creepy, creepy. All right. Well, can I have a drum roll? Because we're on to September 1st. Yay! September 1st. Now, I know that today is September 2nd and we're still behind, but, you know, I'm working on it. All right. Now, I'm not going to take you out to this because it is copyrighted, but it is the video that shows off our military might, and it's a good video. I think it's about 3 minutes long, but I will get a violation if I do that. I know that you guys have seen it before. It's the one where it shows our missiles and our men fighting and women fighting. It just shows off, you know, the U.S. military might, basically. Now, Alrighty. Okay, here's the second email. I wasn't sniffing glue. Knew it was here somewhere. All right, here is very interesting. From Marty Tory to Hillary Clinton. Election day frenzy is the subject. Short for Alice. Holy Hatter Day. My local polling station was packed at 6 a.m. Glad you're not involved in this one. Yikes. But WJC certainly made the rounds. WJC. I'm having a brain fade there. If anyone can remind me who WJC is, I'd appreciate it. Including here in Saratoga County for Scott Murphy. Yet gut tells me Murphy has a problem due to Pelosi ties. Safe travels, MH, Marty Tory. And then from Hillary to M. Tory, subject, Musharraf, curiouser. Sounds like an intriguing opportunity. Let me know how it goes. And I hope you and Chris enjoy your time in the land of Alice and the Mad Hatter. All the best from Hanoi Hilton. I guess that's or maybe Hanoi Hillary. I don't know. Must be Hanoi Hillary. Isn't that a strange email? Very strange email. Now this is to Matt Tory, or whatever his name is, Marty Tory, and she's saying subject is Musharraf, curiouser. Sounds like an intriguing opportunity. Let me know how it goes, and I hope you and Chris enjoy your time in the land of Alice and the Mad Hatter. All the best from Hanoi H. Now I would assume that's got to be Hillary, Hanoi Hillary, because Hanoi Hilton wouldn't make sense in this context. So now let's go down to the next one. Subject, Musharraf, curiouser. H. Now this is from Marty to H. H. Now since she uses H here, we'll assume that it's from Hanoi Hillary. Hillary, been invited to meet Pervez Musharraf on November 6th in New York City, invited by a friend, Joseph Rutigliano, who you met at my wedding. Joseph is a rail and commercial real estate guy, was with us in the 07 and 08 effort, and is friends with Musharraf's U.S. cousin, Mahmoud, so meeting will be a small group. You know Musharraf's goal and have heard he just got back from Texas meeting with W. Anyway, Joseph asked me to join him as his interests are purely business. He and others trying to buy the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City for $200 million, currently owned by Pakistan Airline. Joseph is a good friend who doesn't speak Washington, so I'm considering, but it wouldn't do. So I'm considering it, but wouldn't do so without mentioning because not too comfortable with the former Pakistan leader, but probably good to get the scoop. Yes? No? Best, Marty. So, yeah. Interesting. And Q points out what he wants us to pay attention to, and I hope you and Chris enjoy your time in the land of Alice and the Mad Hatter. All the best from Hanoi Hillary. Nothing to see here, Q. So Q is showing us in an email between Hillary and a close associate named Marty Tory. Searches for Marty Tory connect him with child trafficking. The email hints of what may be coming in emails we've yet to see. It simply shows how Hillary and others are using code references to child trafficking and either ritual or non-ritual child abuse. Hang on here. I'm telling you, it drives me absolutely insane. I have not liked this computer since I've bought it. Okay, where were we? All right. Hillary refers to herself as Alice in many emails. Wonderland can refer to Saudi Arabia as hub of child abuse trafficking, or refers to the activities themselves. Bloody Wonderland refers to the abuse sacrifice. When Q has used Alice in Wonderland in the past, he is referring to Hillary's involvement in child trafficking abuse. Hillary was actually in Vietnam when she wrote this, so all the best from Hanoi. Hillary just means she was writing from Vietnam and has no other significance. Okay, well that makes sense actually. This came from the Great Awakening. MH is Mad Hatter, which, goes without saying. A name Marty Tory often refers to himself, but taken all together, the phrase Land of Alice and the Mad Hatter can mean the location, Saudi Arabia or other hubs, or can mean the participation in ritual or non-ritual trafficking or abuse. So in this email, she's either telling Marty and his partner, wife, friend to enjoy their time with these activities, or it could be that they're on their way to Saudi Arabia for business related to child trafficking. I suspect Q is prepping us for more to come, and I suspect that as well. So, let's move on. And then we have this. And this is just this, so I'm not going to go out to the link. I'm just going to read what Q has for us here. National Preparedness Month is a time to focus our attention on the importance of preparing our families, homes, businesses, and communities for disasters that threaten our lives, property, and homeland. During this time, we also honor the brave men and women who selflessly respond to crisis and disasters, rendering aid to those in need. These first responders who work tirelessly to safeguard our nation and protect our citizens deserve our utmost gratitude and appreciation. Over the past year, communities nationwide and across the territories have witnessed and endured damage from multiple hurricanes, wildfires, tornadoes, floods, volcanic eruptions, and other national disasters. The historic hurricane season of 2017 included 3 catastrophic storms that made landfall within a month and was followed by a destructive series of wildfires in California. Combined, these national disasters affected 47 million people, and tens of thousands were mobilized to provide aid, comfort, and assistance. We are also especially mindful of those currently affected by ongoing wildfires in California, Oregon, and Colorado. In spite of tremendous challenges, the resilience of the American people continues to prevail. Tragedies are somber reminders that preparedness is a shared responsibility that is critical to maintain readiness. All Americans can prepare for potential disaster by developing and practicing a family emergency response plan, assembling a disaster supply kit, signing up for alerts on mobile devices, setting aside emergency savings, and maintaining adequate insurance policies for their homes and businesses. The Federal Emergency Management Agency's Ready campaign outlines other important steps to best prepare for a major disaster. This month, I encourage all Americans to take the opportunity to ensure they have an emergency response plan in place and ready to be properly executed. Emergencies and disasters test the resilience and strength of families, communities, and our nation. It is impossible to avoid every challenge and threat, but we can and must prepare for them. By doing so, we can help protect our communities and save lives. Now, therefore, I, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, do hereby proclaim September 2018 as National Preparedness Month. I encourage all Americans, including federal, state, and local officials, to take action to be prepared for disaster or emergency by making and practicing their emergency response plans. Each step we take to become better prepared makes a real difference in how our families and communities will respond and persevere when faced with the unexpected. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand this 31st day of August in the year of our Lord 2018, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 243rd. Donald J. Trump. that is kind of self-explanatory, so I don't think we need to pause there at all. And the next post is Q has given us several Twitter from the CIA. And the CIA says here, so who is a CIA agent? Our operations officers recruit well-placed human agents with access to secrets. These recruited spies are agents. Agents, spies, are invaluable. They provide critical information about their country to help America. Myth: all CIA officers recruit and handle agents. Fact: only some officers recruit and handle agents, which is the job of an operations officer. The number of employees at CIA is classified, but the variety of careers here is similar to major corporations. And CIA officers work as scientists, support staff, engineers, economists, linguists, mathematicians, secretaries, accountants, inventors, cartographers, architects, psychologists, police officers, editors, graphic designers, auto mechanics, historians, museum curators, and more. And then Q has given us a link to the actual, and I'm not sure why Q is, I guess let's debunk some misconceptions people have about CIA and the women and men working here. We're not gun-toting, globe-trotting, martini-drinking spies so frequently portrayed on the silver screen. Instead, we're ordinary Americans doing extraordinary things. The agency operates independently and is not held accountable to anyone. Fact: the CIA is responsible to the American people. We operate in accordance with oversight from U.S. elected representatives. So this is interesting. This person said, more equals newscasters, reporters, journalists, and politicians. That's funny. And then this person says, and journalists, Mockingbird. And how many are Skull and Bones? Sure hope there are enough rooms open at Gitmo. And then this person put more equals Hollywood, mainstream media, CEOs. And this person, when they work for you, are they given a blank check to do whatever they want as long as they give you information? Does a team in the field place loyalty to the team above any other loyalty? And then this person puts, replying to CIA, Q here, where we go one, we go all. And then replying to CIA, done. Could guys tell me why too much fire in California? Why in my GED social studies I read about Central America invasion, so now I know why too many discrimination, whatever. And from the information that I've gathered over the years, the CIA and NSA protect the rich and the elite, not the citizens of the United States. Woo! Straw dog. For those working in any of the alphabet agencies, CIA, FBI, NSA, DOD, DOJ, God gave you and everyone the greatest gift, a choice, good or bad. Does not matter. Use it wisely. The truth is dangerous and powerful to those that have it, only when they think that. But once everyone knows the truth, it will be their downfall. Remember the past centuries ago, and they burned the Bible? Is there any books that need burning? It's history books, because they teach our children lies. Truth always prevails. That is why the Bible is here today, as always. And it says, Mr. Bowtie is super busy recruiting. Because each one of these are spies. Imagine that. And especially if they are MSMs, I think. Okay. Anyway, I just thought I'd read a few of those because they're funny to me. But let me go back here. I'm getting all sidetracked. So Q wanted us to see that, and I think more than that, Q wanted us to see the comments below, which are humorous to say the least. Now, This is the last post from September 1st, and it says, it must be hard to communicate. And this is Q being Q. This is just classic Q to me. It must be hard to communicate. Every moment together is a moment you should not waste. Former presidents are still able to arrange SCIFs, sensitive compartmentalized information facility. That's what, remember way back, we went over that. There are certain facilities where top secret documents are kept, and you can't take anything in there with you. You can read, but you can't copy anything. You can't have your phone. You can't have any recording equipment, and you have to have specialized clearance to get in these facilities. So it says former presidents are still able to arrange SCIFs. And you do have to arrange, because there has to be somebody there overseeing you. You're not allowed to go in there by yourself. You are watched while you are in there. So Q is saying that the former presidents, and it's interesting because he put apostrophe S, as if former president's staff or former president's whatever. Like, if he meant all the former presidents, he wouldn't have put an apostrophe S, unless it's a typo, but I don't think so. And anyways, does the American taxpayer foot the bill for the 12 hotel rooms in close proximity to the central sensitive compartmentalized information facility? Secret Service details ordered at max perimeter. Deference? I don't know. Nice color choice. It's a shame the windows had to be blocked out to eliminate that view, Q. So what Q's saying here is that the former presidents, and whoever was with him, I guess that's what he's saying, they're able to still go into these and arrange to go into these sensitive compartmentalized information facilities. Plus, there's 12 hotel rooms that are set aside in close proximity to the SCIF, and that there's Secret Service detail ordered around the perimeter of the hotel. So, and Q is saying, nice color choice. It's a shame the windows had to be blocked out to eliminate that view. Now, this Anon did a very good job with this post, and so I'm going to read this. It must be hard to communicate. No more personal servers in the basement. Phones are being listened to, emails being read, even personal conversations being listened to with long distance microphones. Where can they talk except in person? If in person, Q team know exactly who spoke to whom and when. Blatant trolling. Every moment together is a moment you should not waste. You're all at the funeral. There will not be a better time to talk and have any deniability that you met to discuss your predicaments. Former presidents are still able to arrange SCIFs. Presidents, not presidents. Why the apostrophe, which is what I wondered. Possessive, as in president's staff or president's people. So who would be arranging a SCIF for any of the ex-presidents? Does the American taxpayer foot the bill for the 12 hotel rooms in close proximity to the central SCIF? Foot the bill, curious phrasing, the bill, in all capitals, probably refers to ex-president William J. Clinton. That's what the WJC meant in the earlier post. The foot, a reference to the cast that were worn, where there are 12 folks who were targeted and put into such a device. Why mention the hotel rooms? My guess is that these are safe houses that Q team is letting the opposition know that they are not secret nor safe. I don't know about that, but oops. All right. SS detail ordered at maximum perimeter, and keep the United States Secret Service away so they cannot listen. Plus, as a def, they would keep others out until the principal players are told someone is coming. Lastly, it would be an attempt to keep long-distance listening devices at a maximum distance. Nice color choice. we have been inside. Did we plant bugs? Do you know what is seen and said there? It's a shame the windows had to be blocked out to eliminate that view. Too bad blocking the windows didn't help. We can still hear you breathing, even in your skiff. Q. Now, I don't know. This was posted by an Anon, and it's good. I mean, it's as good as an explanation as any. So it's interesting. I think there's a lot more to come with some of these posts because they're not entirely self-explanatory. They are to a point, but I think there's more to come, and we'll look forward to that in another post. But for now, that's it. That brings us up to today, which I better get right on if I want it to still be today, because it's 11:11 p.m. Eastern Time. And that is it for this evening. I hope you guys have a good night. Stay well, stay safe. Talk to you soon.